Hello and welcome to another episode of the Dumb and Dumbest podcast with a music industry podcast where everything is terrible and the house is on fire. I'm Matt Bacon and I'm with my beautiful co-host, Curtis Dewar. And today our topic is...
being clear in your messaging and just getting to the point. Not dancing around things, being clear with people that you are trying to connect with.
Yeah, and to clarify, when we're talking messaging today, we are talking about, very specifically sort of you emailing people like Curtis or people like me or just any person in the music industry. We're talking about like your emails.
Yeah, exactly.
More so than whatever else.
Yeah, exactly. So do you want me to set, me to...
Just lay it out, Curtis.
Okay.
Tell us a story.
Okay, this isn't the first time this has happened, obviously, but for example, I got a message today that I wasn't sure if it was a press release or an inquiry to work with me, because basically what it said is, hey, Curtis or dewarpr or whatever it said, here's some info about my new project, blah, blah. Here's a link to download. It comes out on this date. Let me know what you think. And I looked at it and I was like, well, what are you asking me for? Are you asking me for feedback? Are you asking me for PR rate? I'm not really clear, so yeah.
And that's sort of that's sort of the issue that I think a lot of bands run into. And sometimes it's honestly a lack of education.
Yeah, it could be. And and maybe it could even look clear to the person who's sending it. But I think a lot of times what it is that people will send something without really thinking the whole thought through about how it's going to be received on the other end. So
sorry for sneezing.
I'm probably going to cough a lot on there, so it's fine. So like, for example, like, I mean, I've done the same thing where I haven't been clear in my communication, obviously, but like, if you're going to contact a company that deals with, for example, like promotion, like myself, and just send them your album, and like I have this happen all the time where I'll get someone sending the album and I'll come back with, I'm not really sure what you're asking me for, and it'll be like, oh, well, we just want some feedback. And as much as I'd like to give feedback, and I don't want to be a dick about it, I generally don't have the time, because I get asked this for feedback like pretty much every day for something about something from somebody, you know what I mean? And
yeah,
I mean, unless it's a potential thing I'm going to be working, I generally don't have the time to spend, an hour listening to your album and then critiquing it for you and telling you where you can do better. I mean, I'm sorry if that comes off as a jerk. It's just, I can't do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's sort of go ahead.
And a lot of people will take offense to that sometimes. And it's, but I mean, it's the way it is. I mean, I only have so many hours in a day to work, and, it's just what happens.
Yeah. So, and that's just part of the journey, right? Is like,
exactly.
You need to be, you as an artist need to appreciate, like, we have a bunch of, like, I'll go give feedback to like one of my boys if they ask me.
Yeah.
But like, if you're not connected to me, why would I do that? Like remember that, like, sure, Curtis and I love music, but like, we have jobs and we have to do this, and we can't just mess around, And I think that's where a lot of people get frustrated, is they feel like maybe they feel that we're not doing this for the right reasons, or we're doing this, for whatever. And like, that's to some degree probably more accurate than I care to admit. But also, like, just think for a minute. Like, why would some random guy on the internet give you how much free advice have you gotten in your life from random people on the internet? Like, personalized advice, especially when you're not actively interacting with them. Like
Oh,
that's the
someone
thing.
that I don't interact with. I don't think I've ever never. But I've never even tried because I just wouldn't feel right about it. I mean, I don't even feel right about asking people for feedback that I know half the time. And I'll usually try to say, hey, if you could tell me about something, I'll do this for you at least. That's just the way maybe I'm unique in thinking this, but I always like if I'm trying to get something from someone, I generally try to give something in return.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
um,
But
like for just in general, I mean, I've gotten a little bit, but not like a ton. I usually have to go out and just find the information or buy it. You know what I mean?
yeah, or just generally show why someone should give a fuck. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. Like, I mean, the first time I ever got some advice about PR, that was like when after I actively helped that person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then, then I did some work for them and I was contributing something in return for it. It wasn't like they just started telling me everything I needed to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But they helped
exactly.
me after I did something for them, and it was contributing to them and talking to them and stuff like that.
But some people do want to show and do want to share. Like I try to show and share. Like but you have to come at it in the right way. Steve STB is the same way. If you're commenting and cool and nice, then yes, I'll probably say and do some stuff for free or like give you some ideas or help you out.
Yeah.
But like if you just hit me up out of the blue, why should I care? Like literally the best thing you can do if you want like a record label or someone to pay attention to you, especially if it's like a smaller label, is just comment on all their Instagram shit.
Yeah, I
Because
agree.
when it comes down to it, like they just want eyeballs. And like you commenting, even if you're like a regular commenter or whatever, it boosts them in the algorithm. And you boosting them in the algorithm, like if you have nothing else to do or nothing else to offer, that is the one thing you can do for them that's generating them real tangible value.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, I need people commenting on my shit. So like I'm literally at a point where if I felt I could trust people enough, I might actually be like, look, I'll give you free consulting if you comment on my shit every day.
Yeah.
Like that's how important this is. And I think people don't and that's just a basic way to get free shit. It doesn't have to be, obviously there's a lot of other things you can do, but it doesn't have to be like a big complicated scheme. Like you don't have to try to con people into caring. If you con people into caring, then you're threatened.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's less than ideal.
Yeah.
So like, but if you think things through and you collaborate with people and you sort of build it, then like, okay, now you're not threatened. Now you're some guy who did something cool, who's got sort of a meaningful value proposition, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, think about what you can offer people that's going to make them want to be involved with you, or at
Yeah.
least why they should think about you in lieu of 80,000 other fucking jack-offs who have better who have better bands.
Yeah. I agree.
Because like you are not the best band I'm going to hear today.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and like I'm like, why should I care? Once you can show me why I should care, I will help the fuck out of you.
Yep. I
But
agree.
like it's strange to me how that basic reality is so difficult, I think, for a lot of people. And I mean, there's obviously a lot of reasons for that, and it sucks that it's sometimes so cut and dry.
Yeah.
But that's where we're at, is like you need, and then now to circle back to the point of this is like, again, in terms of respecting people's time, you need to be very, very clear with what you want.
Yeah.
You know,
100%.
or you need to be very, very clear in what you're bringing me. Like if
Yeah.
you give me something and then after the fact, if you give me something and then after the fact turn around and ask me, then I'm much more. Don't you think I'm going to be much more likely to take care of you?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. That doesn't seem like it's rocket science. At least, is that, you know what I'm saying? Like, so sending out a vaguely worded message is just going to make people think you're unprofessional and leave them confused. You know, this all being said, if you're trying to put out a tightly worded message that conveys what you want, know what you want, because so few people actually know what they want.
Yeah.
And B, have a friend or a bandmate read over it for you.
Yeah.
And guess what? Here's some bad news, like right now, straight up. If
Yeah.
none of your bandmates is going to read over the thing that you want to send to PR people, your band is never, ever going to make it. like just like straight up.
Yeah.
You know, like if you don't have one other guy in your band who's willing to take 30 seconds to make sure that you don't sound like an asshole, it's already over.
Yeah.
But, you know, not that like most bands obviously have one driving force, but like there needs to be a support squad.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, anyway, sorry for my little rant there. Curtis, if you'd like to carry on as you were.
Well, you basically covered almost all of it. I mean, it's pretty simple. It's just like, you know, be clear in what you want to, in what you're trying to communicate. Also realize that if you ask someone for feedback on your material and they can't give it to you, they're not just being a dick necessarily. Most of us would like to give you feedback. We just don't have the time in order to do it.
Absolutely.
You know, so I mean, that's it. You know, just I guess it's kind of like, I'm not saying necessarily be respectful of people's time. It's more like just be aware that you can't just approach someone that you don't know and just ask them for some feedback on your material and just expect them to give you an answer. You know what I mean? Especially like with a PR company, and you got to say, am I that you're submitting it for PR or whatever the heck it is, right? So anyways,
Yeah.
I mean, that's basically all I got to say on it. There's not really much else to say that you haven't already covered.
Yeah, I mean, like, look at it this way. If you're asked, like, the people who work in music basically listen to music all day. Okay.
Yeah.
If you are asking me for feedback, realize you are taking away time. I could be listening to Freddie King.
Yeah.
So either have something that's going to kind of impress me more than Freddie King.
Yeah.
Or, you know,
Yeah.
figure it out and figure out a different way to get at me. It's as simple as that. It's like, I like Freddie King. I probably am not going to care about another groove metal band from fucking Tulsa.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Yeah. Which is kind of weird. I tend to get a lot of people giving me groove submissions.
Well, because groove metal bands are people who want to play new metal bands but don't want to call it new metal.
Yeah, but it seems to be on a comeback lately. Like I'm getting a lot of those lately.
It's also probably the Exhorder reunion.
Oh, maybe you could be right on that. That could be what it is. I'm not saying it's bad necessarily. It's been a lot. It seems to either I'm getting a lot of either black metal or groove metal lately. There doesn't really seem to be a lot in between.
Yeah. And that's a topic for a different episode, is like, what bands like genres bands claim to be when they're like, what genres bands masquerade as when they're actually from a shitty genre.
But we'll say that again.
Genres bands pretend to be to hide the fact that they play a shitty genre of music.
Oh, we talked about this before. New metal masquerading as death metal and all sorts of stuff like that.
Grunge bands who put stoner imagery out.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, good for them.
Yeah.
Anyway, what do you have to plug, Curtis?
Today I'm just gonna plug that you again for getting people to get a bio from you. I think if you need a bio done, you should just go see Matt Bacon, because he does some of the best bios I think I've ever seen. And that's all I got to say today.
Oh, thank you very much, Curtis.
You're welcome.
I just wanted to say, please go sign up to read my ebooks. I'm actually working on some sort of back end stuff. Curtis and I have a few other cool things in the works. If you'd be interested in sort of a ad agency for your band, targeted at bands, if that's something you'd be into, please message one of us, because that's something we're talking about launching. We're going to talk about after we wrap up here. So there's just a lot of cool, weird little things we're working on. But go read the ebooks. I think those will bring you a lot of value. They should be very interesting to those of you who actually spend fucking time on growing your products,
Mm-hmm.
and who want maybe some guidance on where to go next steps, actionable points based in reality and not some fucking jazz nerds college auditorium.
Yeah.
This is real deal shit.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you for fucking listening.
Are we done yet?